Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. Now, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember the league plays this summer, and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. You were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I run in the safety, and I run in that safety. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show fan page on Martin Houston Live on Facebook, at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It is a beautiful Thursday morning. So we're live and local and glad to have you as a part of the program. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Want to invite you to be a part of the program. Give us a call at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Taco Casa, quality, value, and great taste each and every day. Let's make them the great choice, the best choice for lunch and or dinner. So that's Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing good today, Martin. Hanging in there on a Thursday, starting to look forward to the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be here. And, of course, this weekend gets us even that much closer to real football. Actual football, as the scrimmage is planned for Saturday. And, of course, today, Alabama game changer as they go into pads. You begin to separate the men from the boys as you take each transition into the fall camp scenario, from helmets and shells to full pads. Some guys can look like they got the goods until the real pads come out, and that physicality or lack thereof becomes evident. So it'll be time to it'll be time for them to separate, and we'll see if that's the case. Nick Saban having a press conference yesterday. We'll use that as a backdrop for a lot of the conversation today. If you have a topic you'd like to bring up as a viewer, as a listener, as a chatter, please feel free to bring that to the table this morning. We will finalize some of that conversation from yesterday, some of the areas we think the football team needs to work on from a defensive standpoint to be ready to play. Nick Saban saying last year that the lack of summer camp, spring and summer camp, hurt the defense. Does that give you even more reason to believe that Pete Golding may actually be able to be the guy? And it's going to be very, very interesting to see if that is the case. Also, Nick Saban putting his team back in COVID protocol. People coming down on both sides of the issues in terms of COVID. I see Curtis Lewis Speaking up on the vaccine, it's time for SEC to say no vaccine, no entrance into SEC stadiums. You're welcome to call to agree or disagree with that statement, that sentiment. Please know that the phone lines are open. So if you have an opinion on that, it's a wild card. No, it's a toss-up Thursday. And we'll also, I'm a day, I don't know, you trying to get to the weekend, I'm trying to take us back to the middle of the week. We also have an opportunity this afternoon, today, to get to our recruiting with Hank South 247 Sports. So we got a great show, busy show lined up for you. Do we have Coach Saban opening comments? I know it's a count, fairly. How long was it? I don't remember exactly.
2 minutes to get started.
2 minutes. That's not that bad. Let's hear what Coach Saban had to say in his opening comments, and then as we listen to that, we'll also pivot from that to the conversation we had yesterday, as well as to a couple other conversations today.
All right, so we've had some pretty good practices for the acclimation period. I know there's some difficult circumstances out there for the players to have to deal with relative to the heat, but it's always been that way here. It's a great opportunity for guys to, have to overcome difficult circumstances, stay focused on doing the things they need to do to pay attention to detail, get the little things right, be able to stay focused in, adverse circumstances and situation, regardless of what that is. And I think that helps players sort of be able to overcome adversity. So I think the big thing right now is a lot of people know what to do, but I think the focus has to be on how to do it so that we can get the kind of execution that we need to be able to execute on a consistent basis, and why it's important to do it that way. I think sometimes, players sort of get a little tunnel vision on just what they have to do and don't see the big picture and understand why it's important to do their job in a certain way because of what everybody else is doing, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. So this is an opportunity to create great intangibles, work ethic in difficult circumstances, give an effort, finishing plays, having the kind of mental toughness that you need to be able to sustain, and then being responsible to do your job. I think a lot of meeting time, opportunities for guys to learn, a lot of reps on the field because we're repping everybody. So, and so far, we're making some progress. Tomorrow will be the first day we can actually put on pads, but in 2 days in shorts and 2 days in shoulder pads, we've been able to make pretty good progress, and hopefully just with the one practice in pads, and then on Friday, we'll see where it goes before we scrimmage on Saturday. And we haven't really sat down and decided exactly where we are and what we want to do in the scrimmage and how we're going to scrimmage people. But I think we're just kind of taking one day at a time, especially in this early acclimation period.
That's Coach Nick Saban. I love a couple of those thoughts there. Talking about the obstacle of the heat. I'm telling you, there's no place like Tuscaloosa. I'm sure that there's other places that are hot, but there's something about the Tuscaloosa heat that is just absolutely unbearable. And even though it is extremely hot, frustrating, and wears you out, I think it really does. It's a game changer in terms of your ability to learn to focus in the heat. It's easy to do your job, Joe, when you're fresh, when it's not hot, but or when you're not exhausted. But when you get tired and it gets sticky and extremely hot, it is a different thing. And he talked about being able to focus and do your job. Yesterday, helping part-time over at Northridge coach again this year. And of course, with the rain and stuff like that and the lightning, we were not able to go outside. And defense did one thing, offense did another. And we were talking, and I was asked by a coach, hey, what did y'all do on offense? Y'all probably didn't do anything. And I said, actually, we probably during the walkthrough had a really, really good practice because We learn to do our job, do our tracks, run our tracks, and understand why it's important to do that the right way every time. And when you don't do it the right way, then the other guy doesn't learn. Joe, you for me when I say mesh point between the running back and the quarterback, that makes sense. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so with the running backs, I was working with them yesterday to help them understand mesh point. Me and other coaches and the quarterbacks, and how if the quarterback takes his steps and you don't take your steps correctly, then the quarterback adjusts and then he's offline, which throws off the next part of the play, especially if it's a read play or an option play, and a pitch and then pitch relation. If you as a running back don't start off right or he doesn't start off right, then it throws everything off. And I think that's what Saban was saying, that sometimes these guys don't see the big pictures. And that's probably as big a deal on the offensive side of the ball as anything. So last year, and I guess defense it is too, because on defense they don't say mesh as much as they say fit, meaning kind of the same thing. You're the guy that when we move the defenders into certain gaps in certain areas, and then that next guy is supposed to be the guy to be the run fit. If he doesn't understand that he has to be in that gap at that moment, then of course, the guy gets 10 yards or breaks a long run versus being stopped for minimal to no gain. So a lot of things going on there that Nick Saban was talking about. We'll continue that conversation. If you want to bring up a topic from anything you heard him say there, a couple other people he talked about, we'll bring them into the conversation on the other side. We got Robert from Mobile. Robert, hold through the break so I can give you enough time to communicate your point, what you want to talk about. If you want to get in on the conversation, the Taco Casa hotline is open, 205-342-9904.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BLUE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BLUE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BLUE.
Gonna miss you around here, Iris.
Olivia's best optometry technician is going back to school.
Did we get that new brand?
Her eye is already twitching about finding a replacement.
Ugh, this can't keep happening. We're gonna have to cancel appointments.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Screen first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Sky partially sunny today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms developing. Most of those coming this afternoon and this evening. A high today 92, tonight's low 73. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds with scattered showers and thunderstorms around, the high 91. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 73 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomore Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at southmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Yeah, Henry's done really well. I think familiarity with the system has helped his transition. Playing for, Jeremy at Tennessee, very similar or same defensive system probably. I never asked him what they did at Tennessee, but just watching him on film, there's a lot of similarities. He's a very bright guy. He's a very conscientious guy, and he's picked up on things. He's very instinctive. He's got a lot of experience, so he's got good leadership qualities. So he's been a very positive addition, and he's done a nice job for us. And hopefully he'll continue to improve. And we'll see what happens relative. We have several guys competing at that position. Christian has played very well, so he's going to play, and Moody's played some and is doing really well. So there's a lot of competition at that position.
Lots of competition at that position. Christian has played a lot and really well. Moody has played some and really well. Does anyone under the sound of my voice think that Henry To'oTo'o will not be the starter? If so, call up and tell me why you think he will not be the starter. And I'm talking about by game one. The young man seems to have done everything correctly. And that was one of the areas that I had as an area our defense needs to improve in, and that is leadership. And he seems to have all of the qualities of a leader. And one of those things that he has is a leader that not only does he lead himself, not only does he lead in good times, but it sounds like he's a corrector. And we call that being a dog. So I think he may be one of the lead dogs for the defense. If you want to come in on that, please give us a call, 205-342-9904. Speaking of a caller, Robert from Mobile is on. Good morning, Robert. How you doing?
Hey, man.
Hey, now. What's on your mind, sir?
A couple of things, but first off, waiting to see how it goes with Mac Jones tonight. Definitely want to see that. Also, definitely glued to watch whatever channel the Patriots come on.
Yeah, see, I missed Najee against the Cowboys, so maybe I'll be home to watch the Patriots. I don't even know who they're playing in what game, so but I'll try to catch it.
He'll play in the Redskins. In fact, he'll be playing a lot of Alabama players, former players. So definitely be a good gauge for him. So what kind of make plays to make and that kind of thing. Real quick, going to the vaccine thing. Martin, I personally know 6 people that have contracted the coronavirus with symptoms. They got to throw that caveat out there. A lot of people have coronavirus contacted it. Most people, I believe, have contacted it. Most people don't have symptoms. Of 6 with symptoms that I do know personally, 4 were vaccinated, 2 were not. Of the 6 people I know that were vaccinated, that were contacted coronavirus and showed symptoms, 2 had to go to the hospital. So I had to go to the hospital for treatment. 1 was vaccinated, 1 was not. And the people who produced the vaccine says that this does not prevent infection, which is why my argument is this is not a vaccine to begin with. Vaccine
history, past history, prevent infection.
Right.
Vaccine for smallpox, you didn't get smallpox. It prevented infection. To a large scale, it prevented infection. That's why I don't count this as a vaccine. This is a clinical trial. What's going on right now? Because they're FDA approved. So what everybody's engaging in right now is a large scale clinical trial. It's the largest clinical trial in the history of humanity. That's what we're engaging in right now. And like I say, I'm an engineer, Martin. I know science, facts, and data. What is called the design of experiment. What the clinical trials are is fancy for a design of experiment. Where you try so many scenarios, so many variables, and you try to factor them all in. Right now, this corona COVID vaccine, what they want to call it, has not shown itself to be the end all be all. That's what's getting. When you want to mandate this on people, and when you want army entry, how am I? I've looked at these people and you think, okay, I'm unvaccinated. How have you been better off than me unvaccinated? Than me not social distance? You're not. You haven't been better off. Life hasn't returned to normal, and none of the things that they have been claiming. The vaccine has not been the end of mass. The vaccine has not been the end of social distancing. The vaccine has not been the end of people not. So. If it meant, nobody who took the vaccine was in the hospital, no, or okay, I'm with you. I know you can't say it's never 0. 99% of the people who took the vaccine are not in the hospital. I'm seeing that my own observation, my own evidence is showing me that's not the case.
Right.
99% of people take the vaccine, at least aren't infected. Even before the vaccine, those numbers were 99% of people who got coronavirus survived. Before the vaccine, when we didn't do anything. Like, so for the vaccine makers say, well, they'll keep your symptoms from getting worse. For most people's symptoms were asymptomatic anyway.
Right.
How do I know that whatever happened to me would have been worse had I not taken the vaccine? There's absolutely no way to know that. So you can't make that claim, but that's the claim they're allowed to make. So, sorry, people out there.
Yeah.
This is not showing itself to something I need to do based on science on these data, and I know how to analyze data.
Robert, I guess the biggest thing for me is a couple things. One is if you want the vaccine, get the vaccine. If you don't, I don't think you should be forced to do it. And then from there, consequences are mitigated either way. And so, yeah, and Virgil Williams kind of agreeing with you. He says Curtis Lewis, even though I have the vaccine myself, I don't believe that is something that should be required. That should be a choice. No one should ever tell you that anything medical is a requirement. One thing to have laws that we are to adhere to, but for things as vaccination, that's a personal choice. Remember, there are some people that cannot take a vaccine and they shouldn't be punished. It's real simple. Do the smart thing. If you're sick, stay home. That's Virgil's opinion. You have your opinion. What's name has his opinion, and that's my biggest issue with all of this is that people don't have the freedom to make whichever choice they deem necessary without being shamed or yelled at. Either way, actually, but more so if you don't have the vaccine. And I ask a couple people, and I'm not going to share what I've done in terms of it because it's really nobody's business. But I couldn't imagine if we were walking up to asking people if they, hey, are you infected with HIV? Are you infected with whatever contagious disease? We don't do that typically in America, but we've got to that point now. My thing is what I still pray about, because I can tell you in my family, some have been vaccinated, some haven't. Okay. And people close to me, some have been vaccinated, some haven't. I have friends who've been vaccinated and friends who have not. I have friends who are pro-vaccination 100%. I have people who are anti-vaccination 100%. So I walk in circles that have all of those different things. My biggest thing is FDA has not approved it, and that concerns me a little bit. Is you're telling the whole world to take something that the medical side, if we can rush it this fast to get it to this point and not, and now we're at this point and we still don't have approval, what are they waiting on to approve it?
But the adverse effects are going. That takes a while.
And that's the concern, that people who may not have taken it, that may be their biggest concern, is because it was a rush. You look at Moderna, go back and look at the track record of the companies. Go back and look at Moderna's track record for getting FDA approval. And I'm not going to say what it is. I just want people to go back and look at it. And if you do that, will you be concerned with the vaccination? But you know what? There are people who have gotten the vaccination because of their livelihood was at stake and different things were at stake. But did they also take a risk in taking it? And all of that does. And the biggest thing is, no one no one knows what works and what doesn't, because people who wear masks get it, people who don't wear masks get it. People who vaccinated get it, people who don't wear vaccination. Someone told me it was like the Tamiflu. It really isn't a vaccine. It's more of a Tamiflu type product. There's so many things out there, but the biggest thing I want people to walk away with is, let's just respect people for whatever decision they're making, and then how they carry themselves. If you're concerned with the virus, please make sure that you take every measure that you can to help yourself. If you're not concerned with it, still be respectful of the people who are, whether they're masked or not masked, vaccinated or not vaccinated. Be respectful of each other, but that doesn't mean that you put yourself in a bad spot either. So that's what I would say with that, Robert. I appreciate it. And like I said, the reason this came up, you may be saying, well, why are you talking about the vaccination? The reason it came up was because Curtis Lewis earlier in the program, if you weren't on, said it's time for the SEC to say no vaccine, no entrance to SEC stadiums. And that's a pretty strong style, but that could very well do it.
They'll fly. I mean, this is SEC country. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Whoever, I don't say that. So get over it. That's not going to happen. And it shouldn't happen, like you just said.
Yeah.
And
So
I'll just agree on one thing. I'm only seeing one side of this disrespectful. For our side, people who are like me who are taking the vaccine, I'm not hearing us trying to belittle anybody who does, and certainly not trying to have any laws passed against anybody who take it. So it's a bit one-sided right now, and it's a lot quite unfair. I appreciate you talking with me, buddy.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. And I'll say this comment, and then Virgil Williams. This is Curtis Lewis Refine. Virgil Williams. No one said you had to have the shot, but you are responsible for your actions, and failure to look out for your fellow man doesn't mean you have clearance to be reckless. That's why seat belts are required, and that's true. But as a person who I say it the same way, as a person who doesn't drink alcohol and the danger that comes with alcohol, the overconsumption of alcohol is deadly as well in a lot of cases. It's just, this is different in the sense that people don't see that the decision, in their opinion, if you're saying get vaccinated or you're going to spread it, it's no different than someone standing on the other side of, I don't want anybody to drink because it would help cut down on deaths from alcohol. But I don't.
This vaccine has not shown itself.
Yeah.
So look at the numbers and the data. I'm not seeing the effectiveness of this vaccine. The vaccine is not wiping out coronavirus. And if everybody was vaccinated today, we would still be talking about coronavirus. From the empirical evidence that I've seen so far.
So All of it, like I said, is there are things that people do each and every day. Thanks, Robert. Every day that they shouldn't do in respect to their fellow man, and they don't do it. And so some people take the same approach here. Is if we have the same emphasis on this as we do others? No, we don't. So as a whole, like I said, comes back to regardless of which side you're on, be respectful, um, and but allow people to have freedom and have choice and deal with consequences. And if they're making the consequences and the world goes more to if you don't do this, then this is a consequence, then those people will deal with that consequences. If the roles were reversed and they don't mask up, then you mask yourself up in terms of it. So whichever side comes out and whichever decision is made, let's try to be respectful to one another. Let's go ahead and get the break here. Come back on the other side. We will get to the conversation of recruiting and what it means. We'll have Hank South. No, Hank is not. I'm sorry. I think Hank's on vacation this week. So we're going to still talk recruiting on the other side. We got some audio from Nick Saban regarding recruiting, and we'll continue that conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Towns and Nissan Traffic Center, everything looking good as we start our Thursday morning with no wrecks and traffic fairly light. If you do
The membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of FlowExpressWash.com. Look forward to making you a part of their team.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code WIN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code WIN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WIN.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.com. Empowerment.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, and we're going to get that Nick Saban audio where he talks about the social media account. But before we do that, I wanted to pick up from just one comment from or piece of advice, Joe, from something that happened. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before when he actually did it, but we got the audio yesterday. I think he may have spoke to him on Tuesday, but regardless of which side of the COVID-19 issue you come down on, did you see Ernie Johnson's any clips or snippets from his speech?
I watched just a little bit of what they put on social media yesterday.
Yeah, and that's all I've seen is part of that. I haven't even seen that in its entirety. But at the end of it, he opens his shirt, and part of what he had talked about was valuing people and valuing the team and doing what's right and being respectful. And his closing challenge from the way the video was positioned was be a better human. You know, and that kind of sums it up, regardless of which side you come down on this vaccine. So be a better human today, and take that advice and walk out with respect. You know, nowhere is anybody going to agree on everything, and this is one of those things that is heated. And as our kids go back to school, there's obviously differences of opinions there, and who should and what should and all of that. So let's make sure that we are respectful of each other as we go back into society. I don't think I've ever seen a issue as divisive in a lot of ways amongst close friends and longtime acquaintances as I have on this one. But you know, if we all decide to be better humans, we'll make it through it. And of course, you know, Martin, unashamedly, the best way to be a better human is to have a relationship with Jesus Christ and think more highly of others than yourself, and walk through that respect and that relationship, and things can and we can make it. We can make it through. So anyway, Joe, you have that audio from Nick Saban piped up where he talks about getting a social media account.
Oh yes, just about to hit play on it.
All right, go ahead, fire it off, and then we'll come back and comment on that here on the Martin Houston Show.
Well, nobody has, and I don't know what it would look like if I did. I mean, you guys keep wanting to ask hypothetical questions today. I've never been big with social media. It takes a lot of time. You got to respond to a lot of things. I've tried to focus on, two things here. How do we develop our players, and how do we bring players to our team, whether it's how we evaluate them or how we develop relationships to be able to recruit them here. And so far, that's worked okay. If any of you out there can convince me that me having a Twitter account is going to help us do a better job in either one of those things, then I might consider it. Otherwise, I don't know why I would consider doing it. And no players have come to me and talked to me about it. But if I would say this, if I thought it would enhance players' chances to improve their brand by something that I did, I would be all for it.
Oh, Coach Saban. What is that? Hey, listen, if you didn't hear the original question was about has he been asked about getting a social media account? And based on that, Joe, do you ever see Nick Saban having a social media account?
Oh no! Well, even if he did, it'd probably be run by an intern. But no, I don't see that. I think I don't know. Maybe he will. It'll be run by an intern and all it'll do is retweet his players when they're tweeting something nice. I don't think he has any time for it.
Two things there. First of all, when he talks about that he ties it in to social media. The only reason he would have a social media account would be from recruiting standpoint, from what I'm taking, if it's going to help him recruit players and or develop players. So he said two things he's focused on. If I was a coach out there, I would be. If I was an opposing coach, I'd work on those two things. If that's the two things that he focuses on, Joe, I'd be right there with him. So, and of course, that is he bringing them in. He mentioned bringing them in, and of course, that's the nature of recruiting. And if you get the best players, you already have a huge advantage. And I think that without a shadow of a doubt, in a 15-year window that Nick Saban has been here, and I think I read or saw or heard somewhere that this is Twitter's, I think, 15th year or one of the social media outlets. And he hadn't joined on board during that time, but in his words, I think my focus on bringing the best players in has, and I think it's worked out pretty good for him. But I don't think Nick Saban gets as much credit, Joe, as he deserves for the second thing he says he focuses on, and that's developing players. And if you look at, of course, Robert was talking about statistics when we were talking about the vaccine. If you look at statistics, yes, Nick Saban gets more of the 5 stars than virtually everyone else. He gets more of the top 4 stars than virtually anyone else. But I think if you add up the success of all the other 5 stars together that have gone to other places, Nick Saban would still have developed more 5-star into first rounders than all of those guys combined. Up until, what was it, Anoma and Ayobi Anoma, and I for some reason I can't ever remember the kids that never even got to
Anthony Alfano.
Other than those two guys, if they have stayed in the program, man, almost all the 5 stars, I think is, if you go back, ironically, you go back and look at 3 of his top 5 recruits, highest ranked recruits. They haven't done too well because you throw Ben Davis into that category, and maybe Ben salvages himself out there at Texas. But overall, Joe, I think he does a great job, not just getting great talent, but developing the talent once they get here. That the majority of the guys that Nick Saban recruits gets better is as they go in the program and as they grow in the program and stay in the program. And I think that's an undersold value of Nick Saban. Thoughts on either one of those? And I got one other point before we get the break.
Oh, I mean, I just think that he's not going to waste his time on social media. But if you will convince, if someone can convince him that it will help his players and help create value for his players, then maybe he'll do it. But I mean, obviously they're dominating in recruiting already without him being on social media. So I would imagine he doesn't see the benefit in the cost of time. It takes some time surfing online and being a Lane Kiffin. It takes some time to hang out on Twitter, but I don't think he probably sees the benefit from that.
And I thought that, and you linked to a very valuable point. The question is, did he leave the door open, though, with this new name, image, and likeness? Because he said those two things are what I have focused on. And in those two areas, bringing players in and developing players, what our system has worked. There's been no need for no need for us to get no need for him to get a Twitter account or a social media account. But if someone can convince him that it would help his players build their brand, then I might do it. And that was one of the first things you said. Nick Saban potentially retweeting may do that. May be you know, that may be something that he looks at doing. So I thought that was interesting that after saying no, I don't think so, he did leave the door open for potentially building a brand. And so I totally agree that he may somewhere down the road, maybe even in the sunset years, get a Twitter account to help build the brand. Alabama, we're not going to get into any specific numbers in terms of the recruiting cycle. We'll say that for Hank South, but Alabama basketball making a little noise in terms of getting on a 5-star. If you're a guard, Joe, coming to play for Bama may not be a bad destination for you, as Alabama's last 3 point guards have gone lottery pick in 3 of the last 4 years. So just maybe can we keep that streak going? And if so, does that draw in even more recruits from the 5-star world as point guards? So can't wait to see what J.D. Davison does to make his name or throw his name into that point guard. Alabama, and we'll talk about that if you'd like to. But let's go ahead and get the break here. I do want to transition back to some areas of improvement. If you want to talk recruiting, you're welcome to call up and give us any recruiting news. But we're going to move on to areas of improvement for the defense. If you'd like to be a part of that conversation, you're welcome to join us at 205-342-9904.
100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything looking good as we start our Thursday morning with no wrecks and traffic fairly light. If you do see conditions, of course, give us a call on 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan is taking care of business with rebates and zero interest and super selection. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Good morning. You need to take extra precautions today if you're working outside or spending any time outdoors. National Weather Service Birmingham tells us it will be dangerously hot with heat indices up to 105 degrees. Those high heat indexes will be with us through the end of the week, but by the weekend, those temperatures to drop down to more normal August levels. Click TuscaloosaThread.com. It's absolutely free, and you can get all the local news, sports, and weather you want. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Don't miss a play at the Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Your front row seat to all the action. Place bets on all professional and most college sports at the counter, kiosk, or on your phone. Then catch the game on one of our 20 big screens from the comfort of the newly remodeled Timeout Lounge. Plus, the PRR Sports app gives you access to live, in-play sports betting. Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Be more than a fan. Be a player. Must be 21.
You're ready to get out and get moving. And whether it's surfing, playing tennis, or hiking every path you can find, you're going to need some essential new gear. Essentials that are even more rewarding with the Bank of America customized cash rewards credit card. You can choose to earn 3% cash back on online shopping, which could increase to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member. Visit bankofamerica.com/more rewarding and apply now. The essentials have never felt more rewarding. Copyright 2021 Bank of America Corporation.
The sound sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Jalen's done a nice job. He's got good knowledge and experience. He's got a lot of diversity as a player to play corner, play star. And, you know, he's gotten a little more physical, a little tougher. Durability has been a little bit of an issue for him in the past, being able to stay healthy, but that's not been something that's been a problem, you know, this year or in this camp or this summer or the last spring. So we're pleased with the progress that he's making. And, you know, we're going to continue to work with him. We got lots of competition in the secondary, which is a good thing. I think it's making everybody push each other.
That's Nick Saban talking about Jalen Armour-Davis. Gentlemen, we've had conversations about this week in regards to being a part of the rotation, the starting rotation at Alabama at corner. Nick Saban just gave us a little insight into a possible rotation. Kool-Aid at corner, maybe Armour-Davis at star. I thought it was interesting that he brings up the physicality when that's what we've been talking about that has stood out so much from Kool-Aid, surprisingly how physical he has been from especially a young player, and Saban pointing out those two things, that he's tougher, talking about Armour-Davis, he's tougher and more physical, and some people don't. Those two sound like the same thing, but they're not directly and necessarily the same thing. You can have a guy who will play through some difficult times. He's mentally tough, physically tough, but he won't stick his head in there and physically tackle someone. And when you can get both of those in a corner or a DB, that's really good. And having some diversity in Armour-Davis gives more depth and opportunity. I thought it was interesting, Joe, that you alluded to it a little bit when we were talking about Pete Golden being able to take the next step and become that great defensive coordinator, or to follow suit with the guys who went before him in the likes of Kirby Smart and Jeremy Pruitt. I would love to, and I never have really seen. I know Kirby came here with Nick Saban and had some serious talent and on the teams when he did it. But do you remember that little spell when Jeremy Pruitt left and Kirby seemed to have been lost as defensive coordinator, where we could?
The third Kirby little
Yes, I mean, I think people forget about that. You know what I mean? It was like, wow. So, and then when Jeremy came back, our defense got right back on track, and I think Jeremy Pruitt is probably as close to teaching Nick Saban's defense as Nick Saban of any of his assistants. And I think we're seeing that play itself out in Toa and how they're saying that. Think about this. Nick Saban said that he hasn't even bothered to ask him what they did at Tennessee or what they learned. They just see that the kid seems to understand the same concepts, and that it fits right in line, and that he's ready to. I think he's ready to play, today if called upon. But one of the things Nick Saban mentioned with this defense, not this defense, but last year, he said we did not have a camp, we did not have spring, and our defense was young last year. And I think that those lack of things in COVID-19 hurt our defense and the ability to teach and to learn and to get that extra work. With that said, Joe, does that give you an even better feel about Pete Golding and his ability, to lead this defense? Because if you think about it, barring something unforeseen, even though this is his 4th year with this defense, this is really kind of his first year to be on from a, I think, talent standpoint, depth standpoint, and seasonal preparation standpoint with Jeremy and Kirby.
Yeah, I have confidence in Pete Golding. I think that his first year as defensive coordinator, I think it was a little underwhelming, obviously. But I think you're dealing with 2 freshman inside linebackers.
That's right.
I don't think people take into the nuance of what what the defense has been dealing with over the last couple of years. You played the Henry To'oTo'o clip earlier. And you heard Coach Saban talk about Christian Harris and Jalen Moody also playing well, and it's high competition at that position. Think about it 2 years ago. Oh, we got high competition at the inside linebacker room. No, we were converting a high school cornerback in Christian Harris, the inside linebacker, along with, unfortunately, slow-footed Shane Lee. I mean, there was no competition at that position.
Look at it this way. Where has Shane Lee been since his freshman year?
Exactly.
If that doesn't tell you what we were, I mean, and I'm not knocking the young man. That's not his fault. It's just the reality of he was playing as a true freshman and is not even really on the depth chart right now. I mean, as far as, the 1-2 rotation. So that tells you what you were playing with. And so we'll pick up that defensive comment. We didn't really get into it today, but I think that we could be. I'm not ready to jump completely on the Golden bandwagon, and I'll tell you why on tomorrow. But I think that there's some opportunities there that have been addressed with his time in the role, his talent that he coaches directly, the overall talent of this defense, and the ability to do a lot of different things because of that word that Saban used earlier about Armour Davis. I think they have that at several positions, and that is diversity. And, of course, that gives them an opportunity to do a lot more. We'll talk about that, and you also welcome to bring your free-for-all topic to the table. And remember this, hey, guys, let's be respectful of each other, and let's take Ernie Johnson's advice. Be better humans out there today to your friend, your neighbor, and even to the stranger. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. Always acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide and have a blessed day.
It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Thank you for listening to on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Towns